Right. Let's see what we have from the scans for Tuesday, April the 7th. There are four scans typically which I run. Let's see what they have produced. Ordering them alphabetically just for the sake of having a cutoff if I need to stop and resume later on. Yeah, there is some traction along meadows. I'm not too much fan of these as these are quite volatile with any kind of political uncertainty. But just keeping a gouge here, I guess, makes sense. Yeah, this name is quite good. I don't like the large ranges, but definitely if it starts narrowing down, I'll be looking to enter. Looks okay on the hourly. I'll definitely keep track, but won't re-enter on candles like this because last time I got shaken out. Yeah, that one is forming a nice base. Good ADR, low on the volume side. It wants to run. I would definitely chase it. Yeah, that's solid name. Couple of inside days. I think this one would have the legs to run in case it wants to go higher. Yeah, lots of these charts which were excellent prior to the war news now look quite bad, unfortunately. Yeah, so this was a pretty good setup in terms of patterns, right? So you had here the range break. You can see how the stock played around with this range for quite a while. 3 months gapping down and then slowly retracing and basing. And then it played around with the range. And then after the move, which wasn't really on that high of a volume, but nevertheless, especially so if you compare it to the market, right? Because market has been down trading. So if we are to compare this one versus the broader market, so this is when the stock broke the range. Look what the market did in the next couple of days, right? It dropped 4%. However, the stock was quite resilient at the time. Now that the market recovered, basically, you can't really say that there has been a large portion of relative strength, but nevertheless, it's now going to the next range. Okay, that's a good one. I would keep an eye definitely on this one. Yeah, that's a good range, but I'm not too much fan of a gold and silver names these days. That's something which normally would look quite interesting. Again, same structure. You're looking at a stock that has been playing with its base levels for a while now, but the volume is quite small. 300k of a daily volume, not too much, not too big of a fan. Nope. Maybe if it gathers more volume. That one is in a way the same, right? You have the strong base here and here, but it's quite. There is absolutely nothing tight about it. You want to have a tight range. You want to have some basic around the tight range, which hopefully somewhere on the far right and top of the chart. But this one is a bit too volatile for an ADR of 4. Yeah, that's a good one. Definitely looking to enter this one in case you see. So you have the first leg, and then you have some nice tightening around the ranges. Um, that's what you would like to have in a chart after a solid run. And again, it's very important that you do all of this as relation to the market, right? The name of the game is relative strength. So look what the market has done for the past 12 days, right? Stock is up 25% almost. Whereas for that time, the market is relatively flat, and it even was down 4% at some point, which for a broader index is not really something insignificant. So the name of the game is relative strength, and as soon as you see stocks like these, you definitely need to have them in your calendar. Um, yeah, that's the one which I have on my scans. In gapped up yesterday above the range. The given market was a bit shaky. It never really did something extraordinary. After that first leg of 90%, you now see it basing on this new range, which is typically what you want to see. Now I'm gonna make another alert, and this time around, if it breaks with significant volume, I will try to participate. Let's put it in the anticipation watch list. Yeah, another chemical company which went all the way. Absolutely not respecting the market weakness. This is what you want to trade. Stocks which have no correlation in bad markets. However, when the markets recover, they're the first to go. Yeah, that was amazing setup. I'm not too happy I saw it over here. Got shaken out in a way from other names as well, so I decided to close this one. Looking at it now, it's probably a mistake I never re-entered, but then it actually gave quite a solid 100% gain. So not too unhappy about it. Typically that's a good setup as well. So again, you see a basing level, and now the stock starts playing around with the high range. So good ADR. You also have a good volume on this one. So you might think in terms of having this one close by. Let's create an alert and let's keep it close. Yeah, that was a leader in the previous good swing run. It has based, it has rode 50-day quite nicely. Now it's trying to set ground again. But I'm not too much fan of this. Should have shown some more relative strength for it to be one of the first candidates after market started going up again. GSAT, that was definitely, so this is something which definitely shows relative strength, right? Especially when you compare it to the market. So market's first bigger down day was here, and then stock was very much in range. Then you can see that on the first attempt for a market recovery, actually the stock made an insane high. Now market has retraced back for a couple of days, and so the stock went to a new range high. So that's definitely something you would like to be involved in, but it's a bit shaky. Nevertheless, keeping this one on the watch list. I tried entering, but I got shaken out here this day. Nevertheless, I would be re-entering in case it starts showing strength more so than now. Yeah, another one from the chemical group, but this one is way too random. Not a fan of these by no means. Yeah, that's actually a good setup. Volume is quite low, so if this one can pick up on volume, it's a potential candidate for a long entry. Yeah, this one is a good one. So you have somewhat of a okayish ADR of 5, and then it has started basing towards these late highs. So if this one picks up with volume, I would be definitely looking to enter. Same here. Stock has not been too destroyed after the recent market weakness. This one keeps on trending up. So let's see how it It reports in 1 month, so there is room for it to run. Yeah, this one was a good runner of mine. I scalped half of it and then got shaken out in here. Yeah, some of these names are just too random now. With the market weakness, etc., with all the speculation around the political stuff going throughout the world, most of these setups have lost their ground. Another chemical name, I guess again fueled by speculation of the rising prices. Essentially, this one is a bit too random for my taste. Yeah, MicroStrategy. Let's see whether with the relative Bitcoin strength, this one has strength to pick up. Good proxy of the general sentiment around crypto. So let's see how it behaves. Okay, that looks interesting. Setting some alerts just to see whether this has room to run. Good market cap, relatively solid volume. New IPO. Maybe this has room. Hey, China EV is picking up some strength. That looks okay-ish. So like the other chemical names, right? All of them had somewhat of a drawdown, but most of them were somewhere here as compared to previous month highs. So when you wanna basically write a theme, you wanna be in the leading names, right? So something like this, although it has a solid first leg of 40% compared to a 6 ADR, you could argue that's a good move, but still it has not crossed any meaningful recent highs. So look for others. That one is a laggard. Maybe once it crosses here, if the other names have stalled, then it makes sense. But for now, I would keep this one out. All right, that's a relatively good and solid base. So let's just keep an eye. It's thin on volume for my case, but nevertheless, you have a good move. Potentially baking here. Yeah, I entered plug yesterday. That was a good one, to be honest. Same team, right? Basically, you see somewhat of a relative strength as compared to the market, because you see when the market started going down was somewhere here. However, the stock actually went a bit higher sideways and slightly higher. And then as soon as market made the bottom, stock was really in range and then started recovering by breaking a, what it is now, 5 month of a range. Hot team as well, so maybe this has room to run. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. Couple of inside days. Always a fan of these. Let's see if market shows some strong moves this week. Maybe this one is the first to go. Yeah, a lot of these pretty much look the same. This one I'm not too much of a fan. Low volume, not for my case. Alright, relatively new IPO, 1 million in volume, nothing fancy. Okay, ADR. I want to see how this one develops. Yeah, this one was a disappointment. I entered and then I got stopped the very same day. Let's see what it can deliver. If it could base around a bit more and then maybe heighten the range a little bit, I'll be looking to enter again. Until then, I'll just keep it on my watch lists. Okay, this one looks not too bad. Same team. Um, it has been some solid basing, so let's see whether it has strength. Last time it went on a run, it delivered almost 70%, which given the ADR is quite a lot. So this name can maybe bring some positive surprises. Let's see. Yeah, this one needs some more basing. This one looks okay, but a bit too random. Yeah, this one I entered yesterday, so let's see how it behaves. And if it stops, it should stop me out a couple of cents less than its lowest of yesterday. So let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. I've been tracking this one for a while. If this one shows some relative strength, some solid volume on the way up, I would put some exposure. You have a nice tight range here. I'll be looking to enter this one definitely. That deserves some love, just purely for the relative strength as compared to the market. It's actually a pretty good one. Pretty clean. Okay. I've been burned so many times by this name, and I keep giving it chances. Um, if it breaks range, I would be looking to enter. Started tightening the range a little bit. Good ADR, relatively okay volume. Yeah, this one could be a nice surprise this season. Let's see. Yeah, same with this one. Been trying to write this one for a while, but I'm not gonna touch this name anymore. This one actually looks quite okay. Oh, never mind. The volume is absolutely on the low side. All right, that wraps it up for the watch lists. A useful exercise that I like to do is just go through any stocks that have made more than 20% in the past few sessions, just to keep the eye sharp and recognize any patterns. Most of these would be some kind of random names that just had a huge volume, but it's also a nice way to track where volume is at. Yeah, most of these are quite random. Nothing to see here. Okay, fair enough. That wraps it for today. Thank you.